Hello class, I'd like to welcome everyone. I'm Mr. Bender, I'm your online instructor. I'd like to welcome you to Intro to Business, Business 118. What I'm doing today is just creating this video so that you can have an orientation, a visual orientation to how the course is set up. So with that said, let's get started. If you notice here at the top, you have course home, content, grades, assessments, communication, and course progress. I'm going to go over each one of these tabs and talk about the importance of them. And then some tips how you can succeed in this course. So the first thing you'll notice is when you log in, you're on the course homepage, and it's kind of set up like this. This may change a little bit, this content browse. This all depends on when you browse, but this will be consistent when you see these news messages. And each module, this course is modularized, so each module I'll put up a comment about the module and some key facts. Again, read this welcome message in this getting started video. This is the one that I'm doing right now, so once you get to that, it's going to be posted under the content tab. So let's go to the content tab, and as you can see in the content tab, it's all modularized. You have two views under your table of contents: Learning Unit 1, Learning Unit 2, Learning Unit 3, Learning Unit 4, Learning Unit 5, Learning Unit 6, and then the getting started. Everything you see over here is the Learning Unit, the case studies, and also case study videos, and I'll talk a little bit about those in detail. So what you want to do is you want to start with this start here, and click here, and I'll just give you some things you need to do. So getting started, I also have a welcome introduction on the bio. You posting that to your discussion board and to the Dropbox. I want you to do it in both these places so I know you know how to navigate around this course. It's highly recommended that you go in and you do the Intro to Desire to Learn for students. If you're brand new to online, that's a course you should have under your training tab as a new student. If you've been here at LCC and you've used Desire to Learn before, then you should be okay to navigate around and know how to upload assignments. But if not, please go and try to take that intro course. If you have questions about how Desire to Learn functions and all that, this is where you'll get those questions answered at. The e-learning department also has face-to-face sessions if you would like to do one. Okay, so I click to this get start here. What you'll notice up here is this breadcrumb trails that can take you back. It's a quick way to navigate back to the menu. Again, you have the getting started video. You have your interactive exercise. I like you to do this so that we can learn a little bit about yourself and learn a little bit about your learning style maybe. There's some cool questions in here. And then you're going to talk about it and discussion board one. And then finally you have the syllabus. And I'm going to open up the syllabus. This is kind of like our contract. So what I would like for you to do is download it. If you look down here in the bottom left, there's a download button. So you can just download it and put it in a binder, and you'll have a paper copy of it. Again, it's a 3-credit class. These are course descriptions. There's my phone number, my email. The preferred email for me though, again, is the course email. So don't use my LCC email unless it's an absolute emergency and you can't get into Desire to Learn. Here's our textbook. Again, this area right here just talks about how the course is set up into 6 learning units, and it's all based on the textbook and the way the book is designed. Here are our learning outcomes. And so what I try to do is I have exercises with case studies, discussion boards, and some assessments to kind of talk about these learning outcomes. And you're going to learn some definitions and those kind of things. Here's a breakdown of our grading system. So this course is based on points, and it is a lot of work in here. We have quite a bit of points. You have 10 case studies. Some of them are Word documents, some of them are videos. I think I have 15 total videos you can watch, but only 4 of them are a part of the case study. And then you have some Word documents where you'll read and you'll talk about it. These are easy points. The main thing is just give me your opinion. There's no right or wrong answer, just some thought and how you analyze it. And again, I like for you to use terminology from the book and from your readings to be a part of your answer. All right. Next areas, we have quizzes. We have 20 quizzes. It's 1 per chapter. And I've been doing this class for a couple years now, and I always thought about, oh, let's have a midterm, have a final. Well, I don't have that. I just have these chapter quizzes, and again, it's 10 points, 10 questions. So hopefully, I mean, I could always change the format and create a midterm on the final, but I think it's best if we just have little bits of information. So if you don't read a chapter or two and you're getting behind because it is a short semester, you can still do well on some of the other ones. Then finally, we have 7 discussion board forms, and those will be easy. The main thing with those, I'll get to those, I'll talk about the grading form, is just get in there often and early, answer the questions, and have some peer feedback. Next, here's just some things that you need to do to be familiar, like using RTF. Have all these different versions of Word. So if you're using something that you go with DocX, you'll be fine. RTF, that's if you're not using something like a Microsoft Word. You may be using some other word processing editor. I want to be able to open it up, okay? And then here's just a breakdown of the things I just described. How many, the unit quizzes. The quizzes are a one-shot deal, so once you start it, you can't reset it. I will tell you, sometimes students get backed up and they get in the bind and they don't get a chance to do the quizzes. Now, it takes a little programming to reopen them, but I'm willing to do that if I can go in and prove that you've been actually diligently working. If you're not working and you just kind of falling behind, you're not doing anything, then more than likely I'm not going to open the classes. And I'll talk about the analytics and where you can check to see your attendance and participation. Okay. Next, here's a little rubric on grading for the discussion boards. So try to read these little 3 rules, and if you want to get maximum points, again, it's just discussion. I always say it's not any right or wrong answers. We're just discussing things, and as long as you meet the objectives, post your stuff often and early. Get it in before the original due date, and then you got a little bit of time for peer. So if you're one of those people that like to wait till the day right before the discussion closes, well, you're not giving your peers any chance to read your stuff and reply back. Okay. Here's our grading scale. This course is the way to figure out your grade is pretty easy. It's 500 total points, and all you need to do is double your points to figure out your total grade. So if we look here and you see 450 points, you double that's 900 or 90%, and that'll get you a 4.0. All right. The next one is, for instance, like you get 400 total points, you double that, 800 points or 80%, you add a 3 point. All right, so that's a pretty standard college grading. Here's some additional course practices in this class. Just kind of familiarize yourself with these things. This is the last section here, and it's important that for this non-participation, because this course is going to go real fast, and we always have a mid-semester and people stop doing work. It's important that you do this, log into this course at least 2 to 3 times a week. If I check and I'm not seeing you logging in, you don't have no activities going, I'm assuming you just stopped doing the class. And because we have a lot of federal regulations, I have veterans, I have folks using financial aid, they have to report last date of attendance. And so I don't take attendance per se for the class in the online. The way I measure that is your last time you logged into the course and you had some activity. So if I go in and I see you haven't logged in a week, and maybe 2 weeks, I may shoot you an email and say, hey, are you still in the course? I may just drop you, and it's a pain in the neck to try to get reinstated, and then once you get dropped, you fall so far behind. And this for your benefit, as well as these federal agencies require instructors to report last date of attendance. Okay, so please let me know if you're going to be out of town, or you're doing something where you can't get into the course but you got your work, you worked ahead, say, hey, I'm going to be out of town. Just shoot me an email and I won't drop you. I have no idea if you're participating or not. So that's the tricky part about it. Okay, so let me scroll back up. So any questions about the syllabus, don't hesitate to email me. Send me a course email. Next, we're going to look at, going back to the content area, how these modules are set up. It's very important. You have several assignments within the module. Now the discussion boards, may have a closing date, but the whole module will close, and I have it posted right here. I don't have a calendar per se because D2L has its own calendar, so activate the calendar for D2L and you'll have all those dates that's due. Also, I'll put them in the subject line. So let me open up one of these learning unit modules. Again, the way the learning unit module is set up is you have your learning outcomes, you have your points, and then time on task. This is approximate time. You know, different folks, we need different levels. So for learning unit 1, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 quizzes. There's a couple discussion boards, and you have a video. I just want to see if this video works. Yep, so this is one of the videos within it. Okay, so again, if some of these hyperlinks don't work, you can go back into the content area and get to them. Again, the discussion boards, this will be the next area I'm going to go to. It's going to be under assessments. All the Dropbox discussion boards and quizzes are all found right under the assessments tab. So it's pretty easy. If you get lost, you can just go right to that tab. So now that we're here, let's go to the discussion board. If you notice here on the discussion board, you have original post date and then peer closing dates. So for instance, if you post on the 11th, you're going to lose points automatically because you posted late, and it's typically 5 points that you get for posting late. Alright, also you need to post your message, your work, have your work ready, so the instructions are here what you need to do before you can even see anybody else's post. This is a new feature in Desire to Learn where you can't see your peers' work until you actually post your work. Okay, and again, my question to you and my challenge to you is post often and early. So if you want to post as soon as this opens, get it done. I have students that do all the discussion boards the first week. You're just responsible for the peer reply part. So when I check, I expect you to be having at least 2 or 3 different dates and then 2 or 3 peer replies. Make sure you go and check how many peer replies, and that's all you need to do to get your 100 points. I mean, you know, your questions and answers, don't just say good answer. You need to get to give a little bit of comments to the peers and ask a couple questions, and I'll try to do the same thing. I'll try to take your question and analyze it, because I'll have a bunch of students answer the same series of questions, and some of my answers are not going to be original. I'm going to say give the same type of comments to something. So again, it may not be original, but it's difficult to do that, and I try to reply to as many peers as I have you do. So I'll talk and reply to 2 or 3 students for every posting as well. Right? I don't reply to every single student. So again, we're just discussing it here. This is a forum for us to discuss. Post often and early, and you should be okay. All right, hopefully I don't have any questions about that. If we do, just shoot me an email. Next, we're going to look at the Dropbox. And this is where you'll post all your case studies. As you can see, they're all worth 20 points. And here's the deadline dates. So there's no like original post, peer post for the Dropbox. You have to have them in by 6 p.m. And I didn't talk about that on the syllabus, but anytime you see the closing date is 1800 or 6 p.m. I do that on purpose. I've been teaching the online classes for like 12 years now, and students always says, that means it's midnight or is it 8 o'clock in the morning? I just do 6 p.m. of the closing day. So June 13th at 6 p.m. So then there's no confusion of when something closes. And the way this functions, again, if you don't know how to use Desire to Learn, make sure you do that. Desire to Learn for Students. But you click a case study here link, and what you'll see is you have to go to the case studies document, read it, and then just upload your work. So type it out in Word and then upload it to this. There's audio you can do. I haven't used all these features with the audio, but I may try it time to time and give you some audio feedback. Okay, and we're going to get to, I'll show you where those case studies are. That's under the content. I just probably should have showed it right here. And all they are is just Word documents. So you download it, you read it, then put your answer. You either can do it in the message box itself or on another Word document. So hopefully you won't have any questions about the Dropbox. It's pretty simple. It's just think of it as like a mailbox between you and I. Nobody else can see your work. I'm the only person that can see your work in the Dropbox. And you have the quizzes. And again, the quizzes are all set up by modularizing them. What you'll see, so the ending dates for module or learning unit, call it learning unit 1, you'll see June 15th. That's chapters 1. There's a video case study in there. There's chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. They are going to end on the 15th. And then the next set will be chapters 5 and so forth. You have a lot of flexibility because it is an online class and you can work on it on your own. But again, if you're not doing the work, you fall behind. You might miss a whole learning unit worth of quizzes, and that can really impact your grade. And then the last thing on the assessments are rubrics, self-assessment, surveys. I don't use any of these tools, so don't worry about them. I can't hide them, otherwise I would get rid of them out of this assessment. Everything you can do under assessments is here, so I don't use these last 3. Next we're going to go to communications. You have 2 functions under communications. You have the actually you have several functions, but the 2 that I use are class list and email. I don't use the chat. I don't use the frequently asked questions, groups. And then the news, if you click on the news, it's going to take you right back to that news feed when you first logged into the course. So the main one I like here is this class list. This is what I use a lot. The class list, will tell everybody who's in the class, and then I email from the class list. So when you want to email me, just put the checkbox here, checks here, hit the, oops, that did everyone, but just check my name, hit email, and it'll email just me. If you clicked here, it'll email the whole class. Okay. And I don't see a need to, I don't have any assignments where you have to email the whole class, but if you want to email me, this is the way you do it. And then you can also go to the email itself, but that one is a little more complicated. So you got to find your course and that kind of stuff. So that's why I highly recommend just using the class list for emailing. One thing I didn't do is I didn't show the grades. So let me go to the grades. The grades is just your grade book, and this will show you your grades. And it should also have the comments. Once comments are made, this thing will expand and it'll have your comments. But this is an easy way you'll know what your grades are. I try to grade things within 24 hours. So when you're doing the case studies, I'll try to do them within 24 hours. However, I do have students, a handful of them. This class has 30 students that'll all wait to the last day. So it may take me 3 or 4 days to get through all the case studies. Okay. And finally, let's go to the course progress. I don't use the attendance, and then I don't have anything under the checklist. The checklist for me is pretty much this graded items. That's your checklist. You need to know when things are done. Users progress. I check this all the time. And this tells me the days you logged in, how many times, what areas you logged in. So I'll check this on every student weekly. Okay, is this student participating? Are they doing their case studies? Are they doing their discussion boards? Have they been taking quizzes? And this is where I'll measure to see if you've been participating in the course. And if I see that you haven't, then I'm going to probably drop you. All right. Now, it's not to say you can't get back in, but it's a pain in the neck. And with such a short semester, if you drop, you fall behind very fast in this course. I recommend to keep yourself on pace. You know, do stuff every 3 days. You should be doing some kind of case study, taking a quiz. Again, this is an 8-week course, and things move very fast. Now, I don't have anything else. The only advice I'll have is if you do have questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to email me. You can also call me. I'm at LCC full-time, so I'm an administrator, and I try to work. I just teach part-time online classes. All right, let's have a good semester.